Items notoriously fluctuate in price in Hypixel Skyblock, one of the greatest virtual economies I've ever seen. But recently, more than ever, I feel like I've been thinking to myself, only if I invested. And I'm not talking about investing in stock of stonks 27,000 years ago for them now to be worth money. I'm talking about items that absolutely skyrocketed in price, usually due to an update, and you could probably have bought for a relatively cheap and normal price 10 minutes earlier, and 10 minutes later, they've doubled, tripled, 5 times, 10 times in price. Of course, some things easier than others to predict. Today we're going to take a look at some of those items and how much money you could really have made if you just use your brain a little bit, unlike me. And we're going to start off with something incredibly recent. Yesterday there was an update in Hypixel Skyblock. I made a video about some of the pets that have been changed, but we're going to leave that for later. General's Medallion is an item that you can obtain from an NPC in dungeons and can buy for 1 million coins. On the AH at the moment, they're selling for between 3.5 and 4 million coins. They were as low as 2 million coins yesterday, however at the same time, they were as high as 35 million. And the proof is absolutely in the graph. Okay, so when this first released yesterday, they were selling for about 1.5 million coins, which is probably about right considering someone's got into a dungeon and profited from selling it. They've profited 500k, they've profited 50%, that's not really too bad. But there was an issue, so they removed the NPC for a short period of time, probably for a few hours while they tried to sort it out. But of course that means that there was a small circulation of these general medallions on the auction house, which people kind of, thought about and cottoned onto straight away. There was one person that I saw which at some point pretty much listed the whole auction house, and they'd obviously just bought the whole market out when they were really cheap, and sold it when they were really expensive. It says that they peaked at 22 million, but I can absolutely guarantee that they were 35 million, and I definitely saw one sell for 34. Meaning that if you bought these at the right time, probably around about 45 minutes later, you could have sold them for about 30 times the value. Which honestly is absolutely insane to think about. Before we go any further, if you are planning on purchasing anything from the Hypixel store, make sure to use code NITROS and get yourself 5% off. You should subscribe to the channel if you watch the videos and you haven't subscribed, please make sure to do so. You should join the Discord server, it's linked in the description of this video. We offer slayers and dungeon carries, so if you need carries or want to carry and make some coins, make sure to join. Now we move on to the pet care update. One of the most controversial updates in Hypixel Skyblock history, maybe not for the content, although the content is kind of mid. It's not as mid as it was, it's slightly better, but it was pretty bad when it first released. There was a lot of bugs involved, wipes, and plus the actual pet leveling situation was terrible. It introduced taming 60 to the game, giving pets to George. And this is the main thing and the main aspects that you can actually make money from. And it seems like this prospect was a little bit too tempting for a Hypixel admin too. George requires a list of individual pets. And of course, with these pets being required in order to actually obtain taming 60, it's understandable that these pets would kind of go up in price, and quite a lot. As proven by these auction house records, for instance, a jellyfish selling for 100 million coins, giraffe pets selling for more than they were worth at the time, even though they have increased actually past that now quite a lot. Another jellyfish selling for 108 million coins. Massive inflation. The funniest thing about this is if we scroll up, this is actually an admin. If you don't know what happened, essentially there was a bit of insider trading that went on, and one of the admins at Hypixel was a little bit too eager and couldn't really resist the profits that he could make. And sure, the interesting thing here is that this pet care update I've never really fully released prior to it. With other updates are tested on the alpha, with open testing, so pretty much anyone can go on the alpha if they go in the queue. But that really wasn't quite the case with the pet care update, meaning that nobody really had any real knowledge or information on what was going to be required, or even if there was going to be a taming update. So the only people that really will know about this were people at Hypixel, and I guess maybe people that have tested the update. It's really crazy to think. Anyway, we've got to talk about something nice. At the moment, realistically, they're not massively inflated. They are a bit more expensive than they were, let's say, a month ago, but they're not insane in terms of price. They are a bit more expensive than usual. Now, the changes to the pets and all the new items that we've seen introduced into Skyblock yesterday were tested on the alpha along with the Primal Dragon situation. With the new Primal Dragon armor, the new Blade of Dragonfire, the Mythic the Mythic Ender Dragon pet upgrader, and a few more items. Now, it turns out that the Primal Dragons and the Primal Dragon armor and everything in terms of that isn't quite ready, but of course everything else released onto the main server. However, when all of that was initially released onto the alpha server, well, of course, the way that you spawn Primal Dragons is with Awakened Summoning Eyes, and to craft Awakened Summoning Eyes, well, you need regular Summoning Eyes and Null Voids. And we can see just before the update was released onto alpha, summoning eyes were actually less than 1 million coins, which is relatively cheap. Well, especially by our standards at the moment. But when people realise, of course, well, you're going to need these items to actually get these new Primal Dragons, the prices increased massively. And don't be fooled, they did not peak at 2 million coins, they peaked at about 7 or 8. 7 or 8 million coins for an item that you could have instabought seconds earlier, minutes earlier, for a matter of 1 million coins. Now, of course, the prospect of this Primal Dragon update is still on the cards, and it's probably relatively close, meaning that summoning eyes are still around about double what they were, but not 7 times. And the really interesting thing is I remember when I was on the alpha server when the update literally just came out, and I was on it straight away, and I was in the call with a few other people, and they were saying, oh my god, summoning eyes are going up so much in price, they're like 1.2, 1.3 million, because they were previously 900k. And nobody decided to invest, but if they did, oh my god. If they invested 1 billion coins, that would have been 6 or 7 billion coins in return minutes later. That's with insta-sells as well. Now what I'm trying to say is if you had your, if you were switched on for this update, then you could have made so many coins, it's insane. Moving on to the pets that were updated in this recent update yesterday. For example, a legendary level 100 giraffe pet is around about 68 to 70 million coins. Now yesterday there was 75, so I guess they will probably continue to drop a little bit, especially because the giraffe's actual ability isn't really working as intended fully. At least it wasn't yesterday when I tested it. Now realistically, you had 2 times to invest. Well, here, after the alpha server released, well, it peaked to 78 million coins, dropped back down to 60, and of course now they're sitting around about 70. Yesterday's 75, so you could have sold for a 15 mil profit. Now, of course, prior to the alpha server releasing with the update, they were closer to 50, 45 million coins, but it would have been much more hard to predict that this update was coming considering it wasn't on the alpha. We observe a very, very similar story with the ghoul pet as well, that's also been updated, sitting at around about 40, maybe 35 million coins prior to the alpha releasing, going up to 75, dropping back down to about 40 again for a period of time, and then peaking again at around about 60 million coins when the update dropped yesterday. These graphs aren't the most accurate, but they give you a rough picture of what happens at roughly the right time. Considering a level 100 legendary ghoul pet is around about 50 to 55 million coins at the moment, and on the graph it says 45. I guess if we narrow down the focus to the 3 methods that kind of, or 3 potential investments that arose from this most recent update, it is just insane to think how much you could have made, realistically, with 3 different investments. And realistically, I think what made the investments probably so good is because there was just no hint of this update coming prior. It was completely and utterly out of the blue. Anyway, if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.